Ephesians 4:23, the scripture says, having a fresh mental and spiritual attitude. You know, we can learn a lot about the importance of a good attitude by looking at the children of Israel. You know, it's estimated that about 1.5 million Israelites came out of Egypt. God delivered them from slavery, and He led them to the promised land. The trip should have taken about 11 days, but instead it took 40 years. Why is that? Well, because they were constantly complaining about everything. They complained about the food God sent for them from heaven each day. And anytime they came across something difficult, well, they were ready to give up and to go back to Egypt, back to the slavery they'd been delivered from. What's astounding is, listen, that out of 1.5 million people who left Egypt, only 2 from the original group made it into the promised land. And today, there are many Christians who've also escaped from Egypt, that is, their former life of slavery to sin. Believers who are always looking forward to the promised land, yet they end up wandering in the wilderness their entire lives because they're dealing with the same old problems and issues. I wonder, are you one of those? Do you feel like you've been circling the same mountain for too long? Well, Deuteronomy says, if so, strip yourselves of your former nature and put off and discard your old unrenewed self, which characterized your previous manner of life and becomes corrupt through lust and desires that spring from delusion. And be constantly renewed in the spirit of your mind, having a fresh mental and spiritual attitude, and put on the new nature, the regenerate self created in God's image, godlike, in true righteousness and holiness. In other words, change your attitude. That's what the scripture tells us. Remember, the scripture also says that we're to have the same attitude that Christ Himself had, who left the throne of God to come into this world to bring about our salvation. And He didn't think it was robbery having to leave the throne of God to become like His creation. So adopt His attitude. I'm Ray Jones, and that's another heart truth for your